Hey folks, it's John at Simply Sprouts Farm, and as requested, we're going to put up a video on how to make a homemade bird feeder. When we have kids over from camps and things, we love to do this project, mainly because it's something you probably can do at home with a few items that you have just laying around, and some of them you're probably just throwing away. And so after looking online and trying to find some kind of instructions on how to do this, we just kind of improvised and did it ourselves, and it's turned out pretty well. So homemade bird feeders are coming up. Stay tuned. We're going to have some fun. Okay, so here's what you're going to need to make all this happen. And, I always suggest improvising if you don't have exactly this. So there's a lot of different ways you can skin this cat, so to speak. So you're going to need a base, some kind of plate. It can be a pie pan that you've used. It can be a paper plate, although paper is not going to last as long outside, so maybe you can find something plastic. You need a screwdriver with Phillips head, some small Phillips head screws, some glue, some string, just basically any kind of string will be fine. Some kind of plastic bottle, it doesn't matter if you just take the label off of it, but some kind of plastic bottle, because this is what you're going to put the bird seed in. Some kind of stick, you can pull it off a tree, find it in the woods, get a dowel. These I cut in two. They're just little stakes for my tomato plants when I'm doing the tomato plants, and scissors. And then finally, you're going to need some kind of bird seed when you're all said and done. Over here, we also have, this is a 1-inch hole saw. I mean, most people probably don't have a hole saw, but if you have, certainly you're going to need a drill to use a hole saw. But if you have a drill, you can put a bigger bit on here and it'll probably work. This hole saw is designed just to cut so the seeds come out, but you can use a drill, or you could probably just go ahead and use a pair of scissors and cut yourself out a hole. So we'll talk about that here in a minute, but let's get rolling. Okay, so the first thing you got to do here is you got the plate, and you're going to have to drill a hole in the bottom of the plate in the very middle. I've already drilled the hole so you can see it here. What I used was the drill, and this is a 1/8 inch bit. What you want it to be able to do is you got the screw here, and you got to be able to screw this in without splitting the plate. These plastic plates will split some, and it's okay if they split a little bit, because once you put birdseed in it, you won't see it, but you don't want it to split all the way across. So, you're just doing a pilot screw hole for that, and then you're going to also be drilling a hole in the bottom of your bottle. Now these bottles, for whatever reason, they have a little solid thing right here in the middle. It's hard to drill the hole right there, so you can see it's just right a little bit off center, but that's okay. Now if you don't have a screwdriver, maybe you have a punch or something else you can do, but you just got to get a hole in here, because you're not going to be able to screw this in without it. Now the reason why we're using a screw in the bottom of this is the glue that we've used so far doesn't work all that great, but I can't really blame the glue for it. It's more because of this bottle. You can see here it's kind of concaved in, so really the only thing that's holding it on the plate here, when we put it on the plate, is this little area right here. So we want to just reinforce it, because at one time when we didn't, we came out the next day and the plate was on the ground with all the food, and the thing was still hanging in the tree. So that's step one. All right, step two is mainly the bottle. All right, so you take your hole saw or your drill or your scissors, and you make 2 holes, 2 in each side here, opposite each other, okay? You don't do all the way to the bottom. You want a little bit of feed to stay here in the bottom, And this one kind of, the drill bit didn't do a very good job. So you can take scissors and trim this off if you want to. So you do that, and then you get your screw, your drill bit back on, or whatever you're using to punch holes. And you're going to drill holes. Now these holes have to be about this diameter of your dowel or whatever, because what you're going to do is you're going to measure up here, right here. Okay, this is about 3 inches. You got to be even on both sides. And once you drill the 2 holes in both sides, what you're going to do is take this stick here and punch it through. So, okay. And I always just suggest, you know, if you're not sure about the hole diameter, start smaller and work your way up. Especially, you know, if you have a drill bit set or something, start smaller and work your way up, because if you make it too big, it's going to flop around, and you don't want it to flop around, because the birds are going to land on this. They're going to land on this, and then they're going to hop down and enjoy some food. So, then at the top here, on opposite sides of the holes, you're going to drill a hole right there and a hole right there. Okay? Put the top back on. Now once I'm done with all this drilling, you got some plastic residue and stuff in here, and so what I like to do is just actually go and rinse it all out, so that way you don't have a bunch of, you know, residue hanging out. But there's step 2. You get your bottle all ready, and we'll proceed on to step number 3. All right, and I should probably say step 2A is, if you want to paint them, probably this is now the best time, and you want to use some non-toxic paint, so you know it doesn't mess the birds up, and certainly something that can work outside. We're not going to paint ours, but yeah, you can paint the base one color and the bottle another, or paint them all the same. I'd love to see some pictures if people do this. So, but in the interest of time today, we're not going to do it. So we're right now at the point where when we do this with campers or students or whatever, this is how far we've gotten. We've got the holes drilled for them, because, you know, kids, we don't want them using power tools, so to speak. So we got this part, and then the rest of this is really what the kids do. So, you know, obviously the first step is they funnel this through, which I've already done once, so it shouldn't be too hard to do again, I guess, right? Now, if you're going to do this with the kids, you probably want to just push this through just to make sure it's level, because obviously you want the stick level across. You don't want it going downhill, because the bird, you know, probably wouldn't appreciate that too much. But you get this done, and then all you need to do, you know, I probably have to help the kids with this, and then they can kind of take over and run with it. But sometimes these epoxies are kind of hard to push on, so if you want to use some other kind of glue that works just as well, you might want to try that. But you want to get the around the lip here of the bottle, you know, because again, since it's concave, there's really no sense in putting anything in the middle. So then you take your plate here, and you're going to want to try to line up the holes a little bit, because you're going to put the screw through. You know, you can get your screw started in the plate first if you want to. Sometimes that winds up being a little easier, but you get your screw started here, and you know, make sure it's lined up with the hole with the bottle. Okay, and then usually at this point I get it started for the kids, and then, you know, they take over with a screwdriver and do the rest on their own. But this is just going to reinforce everything, and you know, like I said, I mean, just the glue alone, it doesn't hold. Mainly because, again, I don't think it's the glue's fault. I think it's more the bottle's fault for, you know, not being flat on the bottom. So if you find a bottle that's flat on the bottom, more power to you, because that that'll definitely do the trick. So screwing this down here, get this all set up, and basically that's step 3. So we'll go on to step number 4. We got her on here. I'm gonna cinch it down a little bit more, but go on to step number 4. All right, so step 4, you're gonna need your twine, string, something, okay? And all you need to do with this is about the length you need. I tell the kids to put their arms out like this, and that's about as much as you need between here and here. So then they take the scissors and they cut it. And really, depending upon the time you have, if you're doing a school project or something, it'd be fun to paint it and then come back to this later. But in the interest of time, sometimes we don't paint them because we just don't have enough time. Now, what you want to do is you got to test your skills. It's fun watching the kids do this. You're gonna have to put it through. Remember, we got 2 holes up here at the top. Put it through like that, like that. Now, sometimes the kids go, "Oh, you can cheat and take the top off." Yeah, you can, and that, if you're having trouble getting it through, that's one way to do it. But I think I've done enough of these to show. So, a little bit experienced threading that needle, I guess you could say. So, and you just tie a knot in the top. Just a little. I do 2 square knots up here just to make sure that it's not going anywhere. Now the kids, they tend to leave a lot of tails on theirs, and of course the girls, they like you to tie a bow at the end. So if your parents are watching this and they got a little bow at the end, that was from special request. So, and then if you got little tails on them, you can just cut them off here. Okay. All right. And if you're outside, make sure the kids pick this up, because depending on type of string, you may not want it in your yard. We have chickens and we move them around, and we certainly don't want the chickens to get a hold of something like that, especially the screws. So we're very diligent when we're outside with the screws. So anyway, here's how it looks at the end. You got your screw here in the bottom with the 2 hole in between the plate and here. Okay, you got your stick that goes through. You got your hole in the side that we made with our hole saw, and you got the screw up here. And then really all that's left is to get your bird seed in. Now, I don't think I need to do a video on how to get the bird seed in. In fact, I let this dry for quite some time before I'm even going to put it outside. So, you want, obviously if you paint it, you got to let it dry too, but I want to make sure that this epoxy at the bottom is dry. Now the manufacturer does say that it's dry in 4 or 5 minutes, but a couple hours certainly doesn't hurt. But there you go. You got your own little homemade bird feeder. Guys, improvise. Show us your creations either on here or on our Facebook page at Simply Sprouts Farms. If you have any questions, comments below, please do so. Obviously these holes here, what kind of seed do you use? These are sunflower hearts. I think anything does work well. I mean, probably something bigger, the bigger the hole. So sunflower seeds work too. Blackwell sunflower seeds, which are pretty affordable, can work in here. The birds will appreciate it, and as we always tell the kids, it keeps the birds around because we want them to eat the bugs out of the garden. Okay, just in full disclosure here, once this was all done, and we actually put a little memo in for the parents of the campers or the students to say, hey, this has probably been bounced around. The kids like to play with it when they're done, so just run some glue or something around the base, just all the way around, just to reinforce it a little bit more. I mean, the screw should hold it, but just a little bit of reinforcement wouldn't hurt. One other thing that somebody may inquire about is when you go to put more bird seed into this, actually it's good to have a funnel, but you can use a paper funnel if you don't have a true funnel. But if you go to put the bird seed in, string here is not going to be in your way. You can just move it to the side, and the stick's not going to be in the way. You don't have to take those things out to do it. Now, obviously, also we're doing this for, you know, kind of a standard tree, or, you know, a shepherd's hook or something that you're going to hang in the yard. You know, obviously you can modify the length of your string if you're putting it up, you know, off a deck or something and you need it longer or shorter or whatever. But you know, have fun with this, and you know, please post pictures. Well, folks, I hope you had fun learning about how to make a homemade bird feeder. We have fun with the kids doing it, and hopefully they can stir up some creativity and make some on their own. So please like our video, and if you like our videos, please subscribe to our channel. We've got plenty more videos coming out this summer. And until next time, take care, God bless, and we'll see you soon.